The great palace of Zathran stood silent under the dim blue sky. Once, it had been the loudest place in the galaxy, full of voices, commands, and ceremony. Now the halls felt empty, like the whole building was holding its breath. Everyone inside knew the truth but refused to say it out loud. Their emperor Valkyr, the strongest mind in the known worlds, had not opened his eyes for many long months. No one understood what had happened. One day he had been giving orders with his usual calm and power. The next day he simply collapsed during a council meeting. The healers rushed to him, the guards carried him to the medical tower, and within hours every scientist and doctor was called to the capital. But nothing worked. They said his mind was locked behind a wall no machine could pass. Without Valkyr the empire began to crack. Neighboring worlds tested their borders. Small rebellions rose in outer colonies. Trade slowed. Even the air inside the palace felt heavy, as if everyone was waiting for the worst. The ruler's daughter, Princess Silura, walked through the palace every morning. She checked every tower, every guard post, every hall. She needed to believe things were still under control. She needed to show her people she was still strong, even if she felt like breaking inside. Today was one of those mornings. She moved through the main hallway with her cape flowing behind her, her steps sharp and fast. Servants bowed as she passed. Guards straightened their shoulders. She did not react to any of them. She simply walked. Her thoughts were always the same. What if Father never wakes? What if the empire falls before we find a cure? What if someone discovers the truth? She pushed those fears aside and entered the medical chamber where the emperor lay. The room was quiet, filled with soft blue lights. A large healing cradle floated in the center, holding Valkyr's body. Long energy lines ran from the cradle into the walls. Strange symbols drifted around him like slow-moving stars. His chest rose and fell, but he did not move, did not speak, did not open his eyes. Silura stood beside him, placing her hand gently on the glass barrier. "Father," she whispered, "please wake up, we need you." Her voice cracked, but only for a second. She quickly regained control. She had to. She was the princess. The people needed strength, not tears. Behind her, the chief healer stepped forward. His name was Draven and he looked exhausted. His gray eyes showed he had not slept in many days. "There is still no change," he said softly. "His mind is still unreachable." Silura turned toward him. "Have you tried the new neural link?" "We did. It failed." "The psychic channeling?" "Failed." "The outer world resonance machine?" "It overloaded." Silura closed her eyes. "Then what has worked?" Draven lowered his head. "Nothing." She felt a cold wave pass through her. She wanted to shout but she didn't. She simply nodded and walked out of the room. Outside, in the city far below the palace, life continued in a different way. The streets were crowded with people trying to sell goods, argue about prices and search for food. Things were hard now. Many jobs had stopped. Many families struggled. Every day felt like survival. And among those people was a young human named Jace Rowan. He had arrived on the planet months ago as part of a cargo shipment crew. But when the crew disbanded during the first weeks of the Emperor's coma, Jace ended up alone. With no home, no money, and no friends, he lived on the streets, sleeping where he could, eating what he found. He didn't complain. Life had never been easy for him. He knew how to survive. Still, every night he looked at the huge palace glowing in the distance and wondered what kind of world existed inside it. He had no idea that fate was slowly pushing him toward that very place. Late that evening, Jace searched for food near the outer market. He moved quickly, trying not to draw attention. A group of security drones floated overhead, scanning for unauthorized citizens near restricted zones. Jace knew that meant people like him, people without a home or proper papers. He tried to slip away, but one drone spotted him and flashed a warning light. "Unauthorized human detected. Stay where you are." Jace froze for a moment. "Yeah, no thanks," he muttered, then turned and ran. The drone chased him. 2 others joined. Jace rushed into a narrow alley, jumped over crates, slid under a broken gate, and ran until his lungs burned. He didn't know where he was going. He just knew he had to escape. When he finally reached a dead end, he noticed something strange, a half-open maintenance door leading into a tall building. He didn't think. He simply acted. He squeezed through the door and closed it behind him. Inside was dark and silent. Jace rested his hands on his knees, breathing hard. "Great, hiding again," he whispered. He lifted his head and looked around. He realized the walls were too smooth, the lights too clean, the air too fresh. This wasn't a normal building. He had somehow entered a palace maintenance tunnel. And once someone entered a palace tunnel, they could not easily go back out. The drones passed outside, their sound fading. Jace sighed in relief, but then worry filled his chest. He knew he needed to leave before anyone caught him. But the tunnel was long and confusing. As he walked deeper, he realized he was moving upward toward the higher levels of the palace. He didn't plan it. He didn't even want it. But with every step he took, he was being pulled closer to the one place no one was allowed to enter. Closer to the chamber of the Comatose Emperor. Jace reached a large door at the end of the tunnel. It was slightly open, just enough for him to slip through. He hesitated, looking back. He could leave. He could try another path. But he was cold, hungry, and tired. And beyond the door, he saw soft blue light and a warm, quiet room. He pushed the door open and stepped inside. There, floating in the center of the chamber, was Emperor Valkyr himself. Jace had no idea who this alien was. He only saw a large figure sleeping peacefully. He whispered to himself, "Well, at least it's warm in here." He walked toward the cradle. He didn't know that his simple choice, to step into this room for shelter, was the beginning of something the whole galaxy would never forget. Jace stepped carefully into the quiet chamber, listening to the soft hum of energy that filled the room. He didn't know he was standing in the most important place in the entire empire. He only knew that it was warm, quiet, and safe from the drones that chased him. His tired feet carried him forward without thinking. He looked around the room and wondered why such a large space had only one person inside. He didn't even know the person was the Emperor. Jace slowly approached the floating cradle. The lights around it glowed in calm waves, like breathing. The figure inside was tall, strong, and covered in armor-like markings. Jace frowned a little. He had never seen an alien like this up close. The Emperor looked peaceful, almost too peaceful. "I hope you don't mind," Jace whispered. "I just need a place to rest." Even though the alien could not hear him, it felt polite to say something. His stomach growled loudly. He rubbed his chest and sighed. It had been almost 2 days since he had a real meal. His legs shook from exhaustion and his eyelids felt heavy. He looked around again for a chair or a corner where he could curl up, but the room was too open and too bright. The only place that looked safe was the raised platform around the cradle. "I'll just sit here for a moment," he mumbled. He climbed onto the platform, moving slowly so he wouldn't knock anything over. He sat down beside the cradle, leaning his back against the edge. The energy from the cradle felt warm, like sunlight touching his skin. It relaxed his tired muscles. He exhaled and closed his eyes for a moment. "Just 5 minutes," he whispered. But that 5 minutes changed everything. As he rested, the lights on the cradle began to shift. The blue glow slowly turned into a soft gold. The symbols floating around the Emperor's body rotated faster. The machines around the room beeped, but gently, as if curious rather than alarmed. Jace didn't notice any of it. He was almost asleep. Then something touched his arm. It was light like static electricity. Jace opened his eyes and stared at the cradle. The energy inside was moving toward him, tiny sparks floating across the glass. "What is this?" he said softly. The glow grew brighter. Before he could move, the door behind him slid open. A sharp voice shouted, "Stop! Do not move!" Jace froze. 5 royal guards rushed into the room, their armor shining silver and blue. They raised plasma staffs at him. Jace raised his hands. Hey, easy. I'm just resting." "No one rests near the Emperor," one guard shouted. Another guard stepped closer. "How did you enter this chamber? Who gave you access?" Jace gulped. "I didn't know what this place was. I was hiding from drones. I swear." The guards looked confused. One whispered to the others, "A human? Here." "Impossible." Before they could grab him, the machines around the cradle beeped louder. The guards turned toward the Emperor in shock. "What is happening?" one asked. The lights on the Emperor's cradle focused completely on Jace. Beams of gentle gold light moved from the glass towards his body. A scanner on the wall flashed symbols none of them had seen before. "It's reading him," a guard said. "It's reacting to the human." Jace looked at himself in panic. "I didn't do anything." The largest guard stepped forward and grabbed Jace by the arm. "Move away from the cradle." But when the guard pulled him, the lights dimmed immediately. The symbols slowed. The machines returned to their weak blue flicker. Then the moment Jace was pushed closer again, everything lit up. Every guard froze. It's responding to him," one whispered. "Only him." The leader tightened his grip. "No human should be able to activate royal healing systems. This is not possible." Jace didn't understand any of it. He was too scared and too confused. "I don't know what you want from me," he said. "I didn't touch anything." Before the guards could decide what to do next, the door opened again. This time it was Princess Silura. She entered quickly, expecting trouble, but even she stopped when she saw the lights. "What is this?" she asked the guards. The leader stepped forward. "Princess, forgive us. This human somehow activated the Emperor's cradle." Silura's eyes snapped toward Jace. Her expression was sharp, full of suspicion. "A human?" she said quietly. "Impossible." The guard nodded. "Yet the machines are reacting only to him. When we pull him away, they weaken. When he is near, the Emperor's vitals rise." Silura stepped closer, studying Jace with calm, intense eyes. "What is your name?" she asked. "Jace," he said nervously. "Jace Rowan." "Why are you in this chamber?" "I was running from drones, and then I found a door, and then, this was the only place to hide." Silura looked at the guards. "Did he damage anything?" "No, Princess." "Did he touch the Emperor?" "No. He only sat beside him." Silura walked up to the cradle. The golden lights were still bright. She had never seen them shine like this, not even during the most advanced healing rituals. Her heart began to beat faster. She turned back to Jace. "Come here." Jace hesitated. "Am I in trouble?" "That depends," Silura said, her voice calm. "Move closer." Jace stepped toward the cradle. The chamber erupted in light. The machines glowed gold again. The symbols spun. The Emperor's breathing grew stronger, more steady. His fingers twitched slightly, something they had waited months to see. Every guard gasped. Silura's eyes widened. For the first time in a long while, she felt real hope. "It's true," she whispered. "The Emperor responds to him." Jace stood completely still, terrified but unable to look away. Silura stepped closer to him. "You, human, you broke every rule by entering this place. But it seems you also broke something else." Jace blinked. "What did I break?" Silura looked at the glowing machines, then at the man who activated them just by being near. "You broke the silence around my father," she said softly. "You woke a part of him no one else could reach." Jace stared at her, confused. He had no idea that he had just changed the future of an entire empire. The night inside the alien outpost felt too quiet, almost as if the walls were holding their breath. That silence broke when Laren stepped inside the holding chamber and saw the creature waiting for him. It was the same wounded alien beast he had saved before, tall, scaled, and strangely elegant, with dull silver eyes that watched him without blinking. The creature should not have been near him again. Humans were never allowed to make contact twice. Bonds were forbidden. Rules were strict. But Laren was already known as the human who did not follow rules. Tonight he was about to break an even bigger one. The creature's chest rose and fell in slow, shaky breaths. Its energy was fading. Laren knew it. Everyone knew it. The alien doctors had tried everything to keep it alive, but it refused treatment from anyone who wasn't human. It refused food. It refused movement. It refused to live, unless Laren was near. Laren stepped closer, careful, slow and steady. The creature did not growl. It did not lower its head. Instead, it leaned forward just a little as if waiting for him to speak first. "You should hate me," Laren whispered. "Humans, we're not supposed to bond with your kind." The creature blinked and the glow inside its silver eyes brightened. Laren reached out and placed a hand on the creature's shoulder. Its body heat surged under his palm, warm and alive. He felt the faint tremble of pain moving through it. It hurt him to see it suffering like this. He wanted to help, even if helping was the worst idea possible. In the hallway outside, alien guards whispered about him. They didn't understand why the creature listened to Laren. They didn't understand why the creature had almost attacked everyone except him. They said the two of them were forming something forbidden, something dangerous. But Laren didn't care about what they said. He only cared about the creature standing in front of him now. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm here." The creature lowered its head and touched its forehead to his chest. The guards froze. Even Laren froze. This was not just trust. It was a sign. A rare sign. A dangerous sign. A bond. A bond that should not exist. Laren felt a strange warmth spreading to him, like a spark moving from the creature's body to his heart. It wasn't painful. It felt like a message. A silent message that said, "Do not leave me." He closed his eyes for a moment. He knew what would happen if the council found out. They would separate them. They would punish him. They would probably end the creature's life, calling it unstable. Humans were not allowed to shape alien emotions. It could break balance between species. He stepped back slowly, trying to break the moment. "We can't do this," he said quietly. "You and me, it's not allowed." The creature lifted its head and made a soft, low sound, not a growl, not a cry, something in between. Something that felt like a plea. Laren looked at it again. The pain in its eyes was clear. The loneliness was clear too. It had been locked away for so long. A beast they feared, a monster they didn't understand. But it wasn't a monster. Laren knew that now. He knew it better than the council ever did. He stepped closer again. "What do you need from me?" he asked. The creature slowly placed its clawed hand over Laren's arm, very gently, very careful not to hurt him. Laren felt the strange pulse again, like a heartbeat that wasn't his. Their connection was growing stronger. He realized then that the creature wasn't choosing a human. It was choosing him. Suddenly, alarms echoed through the hall. Laren spun around. The guards ran toward him. "Stay back," one shouted. "The creature is bonding. This is forbidden." Laren moved instinctively, standing between the guards and the creature. "Don't you touch it," he said firmly. "You're making it worse," another guard yelled. "Humans are not allowed to bond with our warrior beasts." "It's not a beast," Laren snapped. "And I didn't force anything. It chose this." The guards hesitated. They didn't want to fight him. But they were afraid of what might happen if the bond continued. The creature's silver eyes glowed brighter. It stepped behind Laren, towering over him but trusting him completely. A strange soft sound came from it, a protective sound. A warning to the guards. Laren lifted his hands. "Let me calm it," he said. "If you rush in you will only scare it." The guards lowered their weapons but did not move away. Laren took a slow breath, turned back to the creature, and placed his hand gently on its chest. "It's okay," he whispered. "I won't let them hurt you." The creature relaxed. Its breathing steadied. The glow in its eyes calmed. The tension melted from its body. Laren felt something inside him shift. Something strong. Something deep. The creature's bond was now fully connected to him. He knew it. The guards knew it. And soon the entire council would know it too. The guards exchanged nervous glances. "What have you done?" one asked quietly. Laren didn't answer. He didn't have the right words. He only knew one thing. He could not leave the creature now. And the creature could not survive without him. Their lives were linked. The bond that should not exist, now existed. Laren sighed and lowered his head. "Well," he said softly to the creature beside him, "I guess we're in this together now." The creature responded with a gentle rumble, almost like a quiet promise. And in that moment, Laren knew this bond, this impossible, dangerous bond, would change everything. The air inside the alien medical chamber felt heavy, as if something powerful was waiting just behind the silence. Laren stood beside the creature, now stronger, calmer, and more alert than before. But everyone in the station felt something strange rising from it. Something none of them had felt in years. Something waking up. No one predicted what would happen next. Laren gently placed his hand on the creature's shoulder. It no longer trembled with pain. Instead it was filled with a quiet, building force. Its silver eyes had changed too. They now glowed softly, like stars hidden under water. "You feel different," Laren whispered. The creature looked at him and for the first time, Laren sensed real emotion from its expression. Not anger. Not fear. Something new. Something curious. Outside the chamber, alien scientists argued loudly. They believed the creature was becoming unstable. They wanted to chain it again. They wanted to separate Laren from it. They wanted to stop the bond before it grew stronger. But it was too late for that. Laren stood between the creature and the door, ready to protect it if anyone tried to enter. "You're safe," he said softly. "I won't leave you." The creature responded by lowering its head slightly, like a gesture of trust. Suddenly, a deep pulse moved through the room. The lights flickered. The machine screens turned blue. Alarms flashed for a moment and then went silent. Laren felt the pulse move through his bones, like the room itself had taken a breath. "What was that?" he whispered. The creature stepped forward, claws clicking softly against the floor. Its body glowed faintly, like something ancient inside it had awakened. Laren's heart raced. "What are you becoming?" Before he could move, the door burst open. 3 alien guards rushed in with shock sticks raised. "Step away from it," one guard shouted. "It is transforming." The creature straightened its posture, towering over them. But it did not attack. It only watched, calm but alert. Laren raised his hands. "Stop. You don't understand. It's not dangerous." The guards ignored him and stepped forward. "This awakening is not normal. It is forbidden for a beast to evolve near a human. The bond has pushed it into an unstable phase. The creature suddenly growled, a deep, powerful sound that vibrated through the floor. The guards froze in fear. Laren moved quickly, placing himself in front of the creature. If you attack it, I will not stand aside. You don't control this situation, human, one guard shouted. Before they could move again, the creature's glow brightened, so bright that everyone shielded their eyes. A wave of energy burst outward, but it was gentle like a soft wind. It pushed the guards back without hurting them. It moved through the walls, the floors, the air. Laren stared, stunned. The creature had released power without violence. The glow faded slowly, leaving the room filled with quiet light. What was that? Laren asked. The creature looked at him with silver eyes that now held thin streaks of blue light. New color. New life. Something awakened inside it. Something ancient. The guards scrambled to their feet, terrified. This is impossible, one whispered. Warrior beasts do not evolve. They are made for war, not transformation. But Laren's heart told him the truth. The creature was not just a beast. It was something more. Something the aliens had forgotten or misunderstood. Scientists rushed into the hallway, staring with wide eyes. One of them, an older alien named Cyril, stepped closer. Human, what did you do? Laren shook his head. I didn't do anything. It woke up on its own. No, Cyril said. It awoke because of the bond. Because it trusts you. Laren looked at the creature again. It stood tall, glowing faintly, watching everyone with alert calm. It looked aware. Cyril stepped forward slowly. May I scan it? The creature lifted its head and let out a low rumble, not aggression, just a warning. Laren touched its arm. It's okay. They will not harm you. The creature lowered its head slightly, agreeing. Cyril raised a small scanner. It hummed softly. The screen flashed with strange symbols. Cyril's eyes widened. This cannot be real. What is it? Laren asked. This creature, it is activating a dormant core. Something we believed was removed thousands of years ago. Something that belonged only to the old legends. What kind of core? Laren asked. Cyril stared at him. A royal core. Laren's breath caught. Royal? Yes, Cyril said. This is not a common beast. This is a creature born from an ancient royal line. A line believed to be extinct. The creature's blue-streaked eyes met Laren's again. There was intelligence there. New and clear. The guard stepped back in fear. We cannot keep it here, one said. It is too powerful now. Another guard whispered, if the council learns of this, they will destroy it. Laren felt a cold fear rise in his chest. He knew they were right. The council feared anything they could not control. And they definitely could not control this creature now. The creature placed its clawed hand on Laren's shoulder as if sensing his fear. A warm pulse of energy passed through him. Comfort. Reassurance. Laren took a deep breath. We're leaving, he said firmly. The guard stared at him in shock. You can't. That is a royal-class creature. It belongs to the council. It belongs to itself, Laren replied. He turned to the creature. Can you walk? The creature nodded once. Cyril looked at them both and whispered, if you run, run fast. The council will come for you. Laren nodded. I know. As they stepped out of the chamber together, the creature's soft glow lit the hallway. Every alien who saw them moved aside, confused, afraid, or amazed. Laren walked forward with the creature beside him, feeling the awakening energy growing stronger with each step. No one predicted this. No one expected a human and a forbidden creature to stand together. And no one knew what they were becoming. But Laren felt it clearly now. The universe had changed and their bond was only the beginning. Laren stepped out of the alien chamber, the creature following closely beside him. Its glow had softened, but the energy between them still hummed with life. The palace halls, once so empty and quiet, were now alive with whispers. Aliens peeked from doorways, guards hesitated in the corridors, and scientists exchanged fearful and amazed looks. No one had ever seen a human and a royal creature move together without threat. As they reached the main atrium, Princess Silura was waiting. Her eyes widened when she saw them. She had heard the alarms, seen the lights, and understood the change. But seeing the bond with her own eyes was something she hadn't expected. She took a careful step forward. You did it, she said softly, her voice a mixture of awe and relief. I thought it impossible. Laren shook his head. I didn't do anything on purpose. It just happened. Silura's gaze shifted to the creature. It lowered its head slightly to her, as if acknowledging her presence. She could see it now clearly, the intelligence, the understanding, and the loyalty. She had never seen anything like it. Her father's royal line was alive, and this creature carried a piece of it. The council members who had been following from the shadows began to step forward. Their initial anger and fear faded into curiosity. Some whispered nervously. Some remained cautious. But all were aware that the balance of power had shifted. The Empire had survived a collapse, not because of machines or technology, but because of a human, and a bond no one thought possible. Scylla turned to Laren. You have saved more than a creature. You have saved the Empire. But this is dangerous. The Council will want to control it. They will want to control you. Laren looked at her calmly. Then we show them they can't. We do it together. The creature stepped forward, brushing lightly against Laren's side, a silent agreement. Its silver eyes held streaks of blue light, proof of the awakening power within. It was strong, but it was not violent. It was loyal, but it would not be controlled. Scylla smiled faintly. I think the Empire needs to understand something new. Perhaps we have been too afraid of change. The chamber doors opened and Emperor Veilker appeared. His presence was commanding yet calm. For the first time in months the room felt complete. The Emperor's eyes fell on Laren. He studied him quietly, sensing the connection between the human and the creature. Then, slowly he stepped forward. You, Veilker said, his voice steady but soft, are the one who awakened what should not have been reachable. Tell me your name. Laren, he replied, straightening. Laren Rowan. Veilker's eyes studied him for a long moment. Then he nodded. Laren Rowan, you have done what we thought impossible. You have formed a bond no human or alien has ever done before. You have saved more than one life. You have saved the Empire. Laren blinked, unsure what to say. He had only tried to survive, to help the creature, but now he was standing before the most powerful being in the galaxy. The creature lowered its head respectfully to Veilker. The Emperor studied it, then looked at Laren again. And you, he said, have shown courage, understanding, and patience. Qualities many of my soldiers and counselors have forgotten. Scylla stepped forward beside her father. It seems the Empire must change, she said softly. A new beginning is needed. One that includes those we never expected to help us. Veilker nodded. Yes, a new path forward. And it begins with you, Laren Rowan. Laren's heart raced. He had never imagined anything like this. Once homeless, once hunted by drones, he now stood at the center of an empire. The weight of responsibility was heavy, but for the first time he felt a place in the universe. The creature nudged him lightly. Its glow pulsed softly. It had trusted him and it would continue to do so. They were a team now, and together they represented a new era. Scylla turned to the council members. This human, Laren Rowan, is not a threat. He is a part of the future. And this creature is no longer just a royal beast. It is a symbol of our survival and our willingness to change. The council members murmured among themselves. Some nodded slowly, beginning to understand. Some remained silent, unsure of how to react. But all realized that the old rules had shifted. Veilker extended his hand to Laren. You will be my advisor, he said. Not because you are human, but because you have proven yourself worthy. You will help guide this empire into a new era, one where humans and aliens can stand together. Laren hesitated, then took the Emperor's hand. The energy from the creature and from Veilker seemed to meet in him, flowing through his body. It was not frightening. It was empowering. He felt strength he had never known before, not as a human on the streets, but as part of something greater than himself. The creature nudged him again, as if reminding him that their bond was still alive, still strong. Laren looked at it and smiled. We've got a lot of work ahead, he said softly. Veilker nodded. Yes. But together we can rebuild. Together we can create a new beginning. Outside, the citizens of the Empire looked up at the palace towers. They saw lights shining brighter than ever before, spreading hope through the city. Whispers moved through the streets, humans and aliens working together, a bond that had saved the Empire, and a future they had never imagined. Laren, the creature, Princess Scylla, and Emperor Veilker stood together on the balcony, overlooking the city. For the first time in a long time, the galaxy felt alive, not with fear or worry but with hope. The streets were quiet but not empty. The Empire had survived the impossible, and the impossible had a face. A human who had nothing, now standing at the heart of two worlds. And as Laren looked at the glowing creature by his side, he knew this was only the beginning. A new age had come, and for the first time humans and aliens could walk forward together, not as strangers, not as enemies but as allies. The city lights twinkled like stars below. The palace glowed softly. And the bond between a human and a creature, once forbidden, now became the symbol of hope for two worlds. For Laren it was more than survival. It was a new life. A life where he belonged. A life where he had helped change the universe forever. And somewhere deep inside the palace, the first sounds of laughter and celebration began to echo. Not for a single person, not for a single species, but for all of them, together.